Hello everyone, I cordially welcome you all to another video from the React tutorial series, and in this video we are going to discuss on event bubbling in React. So without any delay, let's get started. So before we start with event bubbling, let's discuss what we have studied in our previous video. We have discussed that Portals provides an awesome way of rendering child component into a DOM node that exists outside the DOM hierarchy of the component. Even though a component is not under the root element, we can still render the component onto the DOM, which is quite different from the generic parent-child hierarchy. Besides this, we can also say that React, though a portal may exist anywhere in the DOM tree, but still it behaves like a usual React's child component. Features like context work in portals as like that of any other child component. One such thing is event bubbling. In the previous video, we have discussed about portals. And what are they? Basically, we can render any component on the UI which might not be under the root element. Okay? It can be anywhere in the DOM hierarchy, but that will be rendered on the UI. So now, using the example of portals and using the concept of portals, we are going to learn what is event bubbling. And remember, event bubbling in React is a very important interview question which is often asked. So let's see what is event bubbling. Event bubbling is an event propagation method in the HTML DOM API. In case of a parent-child component relationship, when both parent and child component have registered a handler to handle the event, and if an event is triggered, it is first captured and handled by the innermost child component and then propagates up the hierarchy and is finally handled by the outermost parent element. So if this is not clear to you, let me explain a bit. Suppose you have a parent component app.tsx and you have a child component, say profile page.tsx. Now if you have an event which occurs in your profile page.tsx file, which is your child component, and you have set up a handler both in child component and in parent component for the same event. So in case that event is fired from your child component, it is first taken care of by the event handler in the child component. Then the event propagates to the parent component, and then the event handler in the parent component takes care of the event. So enough of theory now. Let's see some example. So first of all, if you have watched our previous video, you already know what are portals. And here also we have discussed a bit. So first of all, to implement portals, we have created a div with id portal in the same hierarchy as that of our id root div. Thereafter, we go to our app.tsx file, and here we have our parent app component and our portal component. Okay. So basically, if you have watched our previous video, you already know how to implement portals in React. Basically, we do it using this react.dom.createPortal method. So what happens basically, when this component will be rendered on the UI, this button will be rendered within this portal. And where is this portal? So get element by id portal. So this is the element. So within this div, this button with a text click will be rendered. And in our main app component, we have defined a local state variable click and a method to update that local state variable. And I hope till now you are already familiar with the useStateHook if you have watched our previous videos. If not, I would highly recommend you to watch our previous videos where we have discussed a lot about this useStateHook. And even we are going to have one more video in the future where we are going to discuss only on this useStateHook. Okay. Within this app component, we have our return, and within this return, we are rendering our JSX. So here we have named our component app, and we have a event handler over this div. So here we say on click event, you basically update the click value by 1 and show it on the UI that how many times the button have been clicked, and then we call the portal. And this portal basically will do its job, will get rendered within this portal. And remember one thing which you should never confuse, this app will be rendered within this root and this button will be rendered within the portal. This is a very important fact. Okay. So what will happen whenever we will click on this button? See, when we click on this button, there is no event handler. And even when we click on the button, there is no event handler in portal as well, because it is a normal HTML file which exists in our public folder. But what happens whenever you will click on this button, a click event will be triggered from within the portal. And what will happen, as the React portal don't have any event handler to handle this click event, but its parent app.tsx file, which is our app component, have a event handler which says to increase the value of click by 1. So even though this portal component has been rendered outside the root within the portal, but still it will behave as a child component to our parent app component. Okay, so this is what the essence of your event bubbling is. Basically, whenever any child component may or may not handle an event, the event will propagate from the child component to the parent component and will get handled there if any event handler is specified. So let's run our code and see if it's working. We will click on the terminal and here we will write npm start to run our application. Let's wait for some time until it bootstraps. So here we can see our UI on the screen. So here you will see click time 0 and here is a small click button. Okay. So now let's go to inspect and see our elements. So within body you see you have two divs, one with ID root and another one with ID portal. Now within this ID root you get the main app and within here you have only the h1, nothing more. But within this portal you have button which says click. Now what happens, so as they don't have any parent-child relationship, but still when we click on this button, this event will not be handled by the button or the portal itself. It will go up the hierarchy and will get handled by our app component. Okay. Now, if everything works perfectly, when we will click on this button, this value should increase. So let's check. Yes, it's increasing. So basically, the event bubbling phenomenon which should occur in our React component is basically working. Okay. This is a very tricky concept. So if you are not so sure, you can comment us where you haven't understood and we can make further videos to elaborate this matter further. But I guess to most of you this will be enough. This is a simple concept which says whenever any event is not handled or may be handled by the child component, and even there is any handler specified for the parent component, the event will propagate from the child component to the parent component, and this is what is event bubbling. Okay, let's go back to our slide. So I think you find this video informative. In case you like the video, please feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We are going to bring more videos in the future. For any queries, doubts, suggestions or feedbacks, feel free to post them in the comment section. We are going to reply. So thank you for now. See you in the next video. Bye.